Hello, Dr. B. This is my favorite brain part presentation, and I will be focusing on the prefrontal cortex. So to start, why is the prefrontal cortex important? So the prefrontal cortex intelligently regulates our thoughts, actions, and emotions through extensive connections with other brain regions. It dictates our personality, our goals, and our values over the course of our lives, and also helps people control their impulses and ignore distractions. So the anatomy of the prefrontal cortex. So the prefrontal cortex is the front part of the frontal lobe, as seen by the picture, of the cerebral cortex. It is connected to many other parts of the brain and is able to send and receive information. And it is divided into the medial prefrontal cortex, which is involved with self-reflection, memory, and emotional processing, and the lateral prefrontal cortex, which is involved in sensory processing, motor control, and performance monitoring. So to move on to the functioning, the prefrontal cortex is involved in executive functioning, which is the ability to self-regulate and plan ahead. Some executive functionings include controlling behavior and impulses, regulating emotions, making decisions, solving problems, making long-term goals, seeing and predicting consequences of shown behaviors, and being able to focus one's attention in different situations. And these are just some of the many brain functions that involves the prefrontal cortex. So in terms of decision making, the prefrontal cortex is involved in decision making by considering past events and experiences in order to make the best choices in the future. And this works with the hippocampus for memory-guided decision making. And tying in with these 2 points, the prefrontal cortex then only allows certain choices to be made based off of past behavior. Now, social behavior. Now, the medial prefrontal cortex supports behavioral flexibility, response inhibition, attention, and emotion. And this all plays into us as humans having the ability to gain and maintain healthy social relationships. Now, in terms of personality, the prefrontal cortex plays a big role in personality development. The prefrontal cortex helps people make conscious decisions according to their motivations. Over time, this can lead to certain tendencies and behaviors, such as a person acting friendly towards others because they want to be popular. Now, in terms of prefrontal cortex dysfunction, some effects may include impulsivity, impaired decision-making, or even change in personality. An example of what happens when a person's prefrontal cortex is damaged is the Phineas Gage case. Phineas Gage was a railroad worker in the 1800s when his prefrontal cortex was damaged by a metal rod going through his skull. He survived this incident, but his personality changed. He became impulsive and lost the ability to plan. Now, this incident, as well as any other situation of prefrontal cortex dysfunction, can provide insight into how the prefrontal cortex plays a role in regulating our decision-making, impulse control, and personality as a whole. Now, in conclusion, the prefrontal cortex is one of the many important parts of the brain because it regulates many aspects of our lives, such as our personality, thoughts, and decision-making. The prefrontal cortex allows us to have healthy social relationships, whether that's personally or professionally. Now, even though this part of the brain isn't considered fully developed until the age of 25, it has been very interesting to see its change in development throughout my personal life, through my own thoughts, actions, and values. And that is why the prefrontal cortex is my favorite brain part.